What's up, guys? Welcome to Project Freelance. Guess what is happening this week on the podcast? We have yet another live music photographer and videographer on the podcast. Okay, we're on a roll right now with this live music thing. I'm going to keep bringing you guys tips and tricks for shooting live music because it's my favorite thing to shoot. And there's a lot of people out there that I am connected with that also like to shoot live music. But this episode is super cool because we are talking with a videographer and photographer named Sam Medina. He has been touring as a live music content creator for the past 6 years. And for the past 3 years, he's actually been working with a little tiny rap artist named NF. If you don't know who NF is, turn the radio on because he has been all over the radio lately. He is an absolutely insane rapper. This guy, first of all, he doesn't swear in any of his music. I don't know if he considers himself a Christian rapper, but most of his vibe is like that he's like from the Christian world, that he's from like the church world. But anyway, regardless, I'm super excited to talk to Sam. I wanted to pick his brain about how he conceptualizes his videos when it comes to doing show recap videos. And he recently went to Red Rocks Amphitheater I think it's in Arizona. I'm pretty sure it's in Arizona. I've never been there myself, but I've seen a ton of photos from that place. He made an absolutely insane video recapping the show, and I really just needed to know how the heck he did it. So I hit him up on Instagram. I shot him a DM, and I said, hey, I have this podcast about freelancing. I'd love to pick your brain on it. And he said, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it tomorrow. So literally a day after I hit him up, we jumped on Skype and we recorded this podcast, and I am so very excited to share it with you guys. But first, if you need help with things like adulting, like tracking your mileage or keeping track of your expenses, or if you need editing software, if you need camera gear, if you need a backpack, if you need a GoPro, there's a bunch of links down in the description for you to check out. They are affiliate links, so I get a little bit of kickback every time you guys use one of my links. A lot of that stuff I think is going to be super valuable for you, and I would love for you to check it out. Not only that, but I have a book out called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. It is a book about all the explorations I've gone on to abandoned places, photography, and journal entries. You guys can pick up a copy, a signed copy, might I add, at justtheletterk.com/no-tracers. It is available. You can use the code SPOOKY2019 for 10% off of your order. And last but not least, I have a new single coming out with my band Chasing Satellites. I still don't know the name of it yet. I think I'm going to be calling it The Space Between. Anyway, it comes out on Halloween, and I hope you will check it out and enjoy the heck out of it when it comes out. You can find it on Spotify or not iTunes because iTunes doesn't exist anymore. But it's on Spotify and Google Play and all the other places you listen to music. So I would appreciate it if you guys check that out on Halloween. But let's jump right into this episode. Sam, please introduce yourself and what it is you do to the audience.
What's up, guys? My name is Sam Medina. I'm a freelance photographer and videographer for mainly artists, all different types of genres of artists, rap, EDM, reggae artists for the most part.
So I'm stoked to talk about these genres in particular because most of the other guests that I've had on this podcast that are, live music photographers and videographers, they're mostly in like the rock, metal, and punk worlds. So you're in a completely different set of genres that have a completely different type of marketing, have different type of style and everything. So let's go back. Let's talk about how you first got into photography and videography.
Yeah, for sure. So it started for me in high school. I had like a media type class where they had cameras and stuff that you could rent out, and that's kind of where I just started getting the passion for it. I first got into editing. That was like my first thing, and I was really bad at it at first, but it was something that I could just keep, etching at and keep trying to refine. So I ended up starting to get a passion for that, and then started doing a little bit of video work too, picking up the camera and learning things. So it started for me in high school pretty much, and it just became a thing where I wouldn't want to do anything else. For other projects that I had in class, for a history class, I would ask my teacher if I could do a video project instead of writing a paper and sometimes they let me, sometimes they wouldn't. But I just ended up making like a bunch of different types of videos, whether it be for school projects or just for my fun. I'd go like snowboarding and stuff like that. And that's kind of where video, photo, editing, all that's kind of started for me at least.
After high school, where did you go with your video and photography? What happened next?
So I went to college for it. I got a bachelor's degree in like film and production at a school called Columbia College in Chicago. I went to ASU for 1 year and then I didn't like it that much because I didn't feel like I was doing it much besides partying. So I got out of there, went to school in Chicago, and from there I ended up doing an internship. Actually, while I was in college, I think I did the internship at this artist management label for this band that I really like. They're called Revolution, who I now tour with today. It's kind of crazy. So basically, the story with that was I really liked this band called Revolution. I saw them like in 2010, like when I was I'm from Arizona originally. So when I went or when I saw them there, I just was like a big fan of this band. So I started working out on their street team, putting up posters and stuff for shows. And then eventually I did that for a few years. And I met their manager through doing that at one of the shows, and he basically kind of inspired me and told me, you should come intern at the place where artist management is. So I did that pretty much, I think, like my senior year of college for about 3 months in LA. And then after the internship was over and after I graduated college, he asked me if I wanted to go out and tour with the band. And that's kind of what kickstarted this whole, me touring with artists since then. I've been doing this for 6 years now, so it's been quite a journey.
Wow. So, first of all, would you recommend studying film in college for those that are listening to this that may be about to graduate high school that are trying to figure out what to do in college? Would you recommend studying film production?
Right. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's also something that, after going through it, it's definitely something that you can just learn yourself, whether it's watching YouTube tutorials or just going out there and, learning the craft yourself. But I think college and being surrounded by people who you're also working with or that are interested in the same things that you're working with is a big thing, because I definitely still am working with and networking with people that I've went to classes with in college and all that. So I think it has its pros and cons as far as like you can learn the same stuff there as you can anywhere else, but I also think that you can also learn it not in college too. So it's kind of up to you.
Yeah, and just out of curiosity, do you, now that you've been doing this for a while, do you still study on YouTube or on like Skillshare or anything like that? Are you still like studying and crafting your skills?
Yeah, totally. I'm really trying to dive deep more into editing, and as far as like editing goes, like a lot of animation, more stuff that I'm not like more acquainted with. I'm more acquainted with like traditional editing. I'm trying to get more into like special effects and 3D animation and all that. So yeah, I'm trying to learn as much as I can. Right now I'm trying to learn Cinema 4D. So I'm basically just downloading the program and then just watching YouTube videos, trying to learn how to do stuff that I see other people do online is the best way. I've been trying to, refine my craft and try new things at it to make my edits better.
And who are some of the people you're watching on YouTube to get your information from?
When I just search on YouTube, I like kind of just seeing like like the first few videos that pop up. There's not like a specific person right now, but yeah.
I think it's super fascinating that you went from being a street teamer to going on tour with a band. That's huge. Like not a lot of people get that opportunity. What was that like for you the first time you went on tour?
It was crazy. Like I had met the guys and talked to them before, but it was just kind of like a thing where when I actually happened, I was like, I couldn't believe that it was happening, because this was just a band that I was just like a huge fan of before I had started working. I never thought that I would be going out and working for them. So, and especially now too, 6 years later after all that's happened, it's like it's been pretty surreal to like have it become a full-time career for me to be able to do that and for other artists that I'm working for now. So it's been pretty cool.
And when did it go from being just, one or two tours to being a full-time thing for you?
It probably took like 2 to 3 years, because after the first tour that I did with them, it was kind of like what do I do now? Because the tour was only like 3 months. I didn't have anything lined up after. I'd met the 3 other bands that were on the same tour with us, but they didn't have anything going on. So I ended up going. I was living in LA at the time, so I lived in LA for I think about 4 years. I left maybe two or 3 years ago, and I went and intern, or I didn't intern. I was a PA at this company that did movie trailers. I wanted to be an editor there, and I was gotten about 4 months of it, and it was just basically for PA there. You're getting groceries and you're not really doing editing work. You're kind of just basically helping out the office, getting people's lunch orders, stuff like that. I did that for about 4 months, and I just couldn't handle it. So I basically did it up until the next tour that I got offered, and then after that, I kind of just grinded my butt off, asked all the other bands that I worked with if they needed music videos done, tried to hustle as much editing work as I could until the next tour, and then after that tour, then it started to pick up a little bit more. I just tried to network as much as I could after that to get more gigs.
So for music videos, you do music videos as well, I assume, since you just said that. So
Yeah.
when it comes to doing a music video, how is the style for, the genres you're doing? Like, what do you go into it with as far as like concepts go?
For me, I'm not too big of a director. I have like certain things that I like to do, but as far as like my style or my type of music videos, it's kind of whatever the artist wants, and then I just try to do my best. Because a lot of the stuff that I've done, or at least most of the music videos that I've directed, I've directed, shot, edited. I've pretty much done everything, and I'm like a one-person team. So I haven't had any kind of crazy budgets for any larger music videos, but I kind of just whatever the artist kind of wants, I kind of just like do that concept. I might have some input as far as like as what the concept might be, but it's pretty much their idea. And then a lot of what I kind of find the creative process of me doing it is after it being shot is in the editing process. I try to like, if there's something that we shot that day and I think we could just like throw a totally different twist on it, whether it's with coloring or just like the way it could be edited, that's kind of where I find of refine the direction of the video and shooting it at first, for me at least.
And then for like rap music videos and stuff, there's a lot of new techniques like After Effects going into it. Like a lot of people are using a bunch of different VFX. Have you been diving into that stuff as well?
Yeah, I see what people are doing, some different things, and those are things too that I was saying, effects wise, that I'm trying to learn because I see some stuff from other people, and I'm like, whoa, how the hell did they do that? So I try to YouTube it and look it up and see, oh, that's kind of cool, and that's what I like doing too. Is like I like trying to see what other people are doing, and then I try to recreate it myself, and then see, maybe I'll use this in a video of mine, or I'll try to use it in a different way too. But I think it's good to like see what other people are doing, try to recreate it, and then that way you can kind of see how they did it, because you don't really know off the top of your head sometimes, how they did the certain effects. So it takes time I think it's important to go back and look and see how it's done versus like, I don't know, just copying someone else or whatever. So
what are some of the artists that you've done music videos for?
So I haven't done any for NF, but I've done stuff for Revolution. I did stuff for this band called Mute Math. A few of the other smaller reggae bands. It's been called Through the Roots. I haven't done too many. I've probably done like maybe 10 music videos in my time, which is not a lot. I was just talking to NF's music video director the other day, and he does like 50 a year, and I was like blown away by that. I was like, that's so many, especially because he does like bigger budget stuff. So it's pretty crazy. So I don't really consider myself too into the music video thing, but I'm more of like I like to edit like any kind of projects. Like I'm flying out to Chicago Sunday to help out with my uncle's a lawyer, and he is a lawyer firm, and I'm doing videos for him, and so I don't really care what the project is. If editing's involved, I'm in. So I work on all different types of different things.
So on the next episode of Project Freelance, we're going to have the director of NF's music videos on.
Oh, there you go.
I got to talk to that guy, man. His videos are so unique, and it's like I've obviously watched them over the course of the years, and every one of them it's not like he's just making like a rap video. Like every video he makes has a story in it, and I think that's super amazing. Back to touring. So you just got off tour with NF. Talk a little bit about that, what it's like to go on tour with a rap artist that's seriously blowing up all over the place right now.
Yeah, it's great. So he's like the first rapper that I've gotten to work with. And actually, when I first got offered the gig like 3 years ago, I didn't even know who he was. And that's like a lot of people that I'm noticing these days. But it's crazy how much he's grown since those 3 years and how much more attention he's getting now. But the tour is great. Uh, Nate's a super cool dude to work with. He's very low key, but he's one of the funniest people that I know, and it's a good time doing that tour. So really enjoyed it, and looking forward towards the next one.
So how long you've been with him for 3 years, you said?
Yeah, we've been touring for this will be our third year doing tours together. Yeah.
Wow. So have you've watched that progression, I'm sure, going from smaller vehicles probably to buses now. How has the tour changed size wise?
It's crazy. Every year he has like a new like semi truck to add for production. So it's pretty cool to see it, get bigger and bigger every year.
And how's that been for you as like somebody capturing this show? Has it changed? Have you been able to like experiment with different types of things? Like, tell me a little bit about capturing these shows.
Yeah, I mean, just the production itself, changes the way I shoot stuff. I'm doing photos and videos too, so it's like I try to get what the artist wants from each. I try basically just try to capture moments that he tells me that he wants. So, um, yeah, I mean, just when the production gets bigger, you try to just go bigger as far as like how much you're capturing and what you want to capture and yeah, that's been pretty much it.
So tell me about your process. For example, we used your video from Red Rocks because that's what made me want to hit you up.
Hmm.
That Nate posted on his Instagram. So that video, you've got stuff from before the show, you've got stuff from during the show, you've got all kinds of stuff. How did you plan that kind of video out? Do you always shoot pre-show to post-show? Like, what's your process?
I kind of just get an idea. I mean, for the scale of that show, and I've shot Red Rocks a bunch. I kind of want to get a little bit of everything that's going on during the day. So, get them setting up. I wanted to get them setting up all the gear because it's a pretty big production. Do time lapses of people during the day because it's Red Rocks. It's a massive show. It's like 9,000 plus people. And then, yeah, when I do shoot the show, since it's such a big venue too, I kind of have an idea, and I've seen the show, 2 weeks worth, so I know when the moments are. I try to plan out, where I want to be in certain spots. So I have like a routing as far as where I go during the show, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the editing, I have some ideas, but a lot of the ideas actually come to me while I'm editing. So when I'm actually like laying out the tracks on the timeline and looking at the selects, then I kind of start getting ideas as far as like how I want the edit to be or look or what the flow is going to be. So I kind of make sure I get everything shooting wise. Like I try to get all the like things that I know I need to get, and then I kind of creatively make the edit up in the process. I don't really think about it too much ahead of time unless there's something specific that I know I need to get for the edit, basically.
And then what's your turnaround time typically? Are you editing that night and getting stuff to the artist the next day?
Yeah, the photo. Well, it depends. Like, different artists want different things. So Nate's not too picky about when I give him the videos and stuff, as long as it's like he likes it and he's approved with it. With some other groups, they want it like the day after, which I do. So like on the Revolution tour, I'll give them photos and video like the morning after the show. So it just kind of depends on what the artist wants, which is nice. It's actually nice that Nate kind of gives me some more freedom to as far as when he wants it, because that gives me more time to make it better, basically.
Yeah, the more time you've got to perfect something, the better it's going to look. I totally understand that. And in this world of everybody wants something right now and everyone wants to post it the next second, like it's cool that you have an artist like that that's super, not like you said, he's super low key about everything. And so I think that's super rad that you've found an artist like that who you work well with. So I want to talk a little bit about mental health on the road. I mean, you work with an artist that talks a lot about it, but for you, you've been touring for 6 years. How have you dealt with things like post-tour depression? Have you dealt with things like, the loneliness that comes with being on tour?
Sure. I don't think I've dealt with too much anything tour related depression. I mean, of course you miss your family, you miss your bed, you miss, things at home because you're gone for a long time. And it just depends too, like how long you go out. Some people will go out for like 2 weeks. Like I do tours that, you'll be gone for 3 months. So, but I think just in general, because I've dealt with plenty of, I've dealt with plenty of depression and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing that's always helped me in the past was I first went to like a counselor or like a therapist. That helped me a lot in the beginning when I was super depressed in LA. And also just talking to people, you talk to anyone about what you're going through, it's going to help. That's just the first step forward into resolving what your issues are. But as far as for me too, is like tour can be, I don't think I get depressed, but I get more like exhausting. After 3 weeks, you're just really tired and you want to just go back to your bed. You're sick of living on the bus or just the tour life. But it's kind of just powering through it, talking to your friends and family on the phone or FaceTime or whatever. But the tour is also really fun too. You're out there, you become really good friends with people. I've had, people that I've been touring with since the start of my touring career, so that it gets really fun at times too. But yeah, I think it's really important to just be, if you're having depression issues, definitely be talking to someone. And if it's something more serious, like you're feeling suicidal or whatever, definitely go to a therapist, because I've been there too. Everyone's been there, whether they talk about it or not. So I think it's important to get that figured out before you get anything else figured out in your life.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about budgeting. So first of all, how do you budget on the tour? How do you not overspend? I'm sure you get PDs like per diems and stuff like that, but a lot of people that are on tour go broke by the time the tour's over because they don't know how to save their money. So how do you budget for tour?
I have the exact opposite problem. I actually save the most money while I'm on tour, so maybe I can help. So I mean, I don't have a budgeting system, I guess, for tour. I have a way that I kind of just figure out my rates and stuff like that. But I mean, when I'm on tour, I'm saving a ton of money because I'm not at home spending it, basically, is my thing. And as far as like trying to figure out maybe this might help people more as far as like what you want to charge artists and stuff like that. I always just try to figure out, line up your expenses. How much is your rent? How much does it cost to buy a computer and your gear and all of that stuff? And then once you have all your monthly expenses and all your stuff for your gear totaled out, then kind of just like divide it by, how much time do they need you out on the road for? And then just try to figure out like a week or a day rate that you can agree with the artist. When I first started out, I actually did my first tour for free. So I kind of learned then that, okay, this was fun and all, but I need to make money doing this. And then after I did that, I did exactly what I learned. I told you I didn't really do that before I figured out what my monthly expenses are and all that stuff. And then was able to come up with a day rate that I felt was fair and that everyone kind of agreed on. But yeah, I think doing a day or a week rate's best. And then when you're on tour, you're getting per diems and you're getting, your week and day rates too. So, I mean, you shouldn't have too many expenses. Your meals are getting paid. So these are things too that you should, if you're ever going to go on tour, you should make sure you get covered. You should make sure all your travel gets covered. So like all your basically anything work related, like Uber rides from your home to the airport, any travel expenses. So like flights, all that the band should be covering. Meals too. So like lunch and dinner. And then hopefully after show, if they can give you that, that all should be covered. And then you get your whatever their per diem rate is, you should be getting that. What else? Hotels, they should be covering your hotels. You shouldn't be paying for any of that. Anything that shouldn't be an expense to you, it should be an expense for them, basically. And that's like the best way you should be saving money too, is by not spending money on that stuff, because you shouldn't be paying for it, honestly, because they need you out. It's not you need to be out for them. You're out there to work for them.
Yeah, if a band is out there and they're trying to tell you that you can go on the tour, but you have to fly yourself to the East Coast, that's not how this works.
Yeah, not really. No, I mean, if it's something like major, like it's a big thing for you and you think it's a one-time gig and you think it might, lead you a stepping stone into another gig, then I don't mind doing that. No, but no, you shouldn't be doing it for the whole tour. If it's a one-time thing, then I think it's okay. Because I mean, I did a whole tour for free. So I don't mind making sacrifices if it's worth it, you think, in the long run. So
Yeah, and I mean, I know people that have done Australian tours for, you know, just getting their flights covered just so they can be there, you know, for an Australian tour. So yeah, there are obviously exceptions to everything that we're saying, but for those of you listening, yeah, that you can definitely. If you want to take an opportunity like that, sometimes the band will offer, well, hey, we're going to take you over to Europe, but like you're gonna have to work for free because we're paying for your $1,500 flight. So yeah, if it's something that's worth it enough for you, then I mean, take the gig. But otherwise, yeah, the band should be covering your expenses for travel and
And
lodging
it's also
and food.
it also depends too on what your situation is. Like if you're someone that has a lot of bills to pay and you need money to pay, then you need to say, hey, listen, I can't be working for free because I've got all this stuff. So it kind of just depends on your situation too. But either way, you should be charging people. You know, if you're in the position, if you're absolutely just starting out, you're probably gonna have to work for free. That's how just how it is. But you know, if you've got somewhat of a resume and you've been on a tour before, or you've done some sort of gig where you have been paid before, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting paid. So.
100%. Do you give the raw files to your clients ever?
Yeah, I do. I give them all the footage from the tour. I give them all the raw files, all the clips, with the disclaimer that if they want to ever use anything for anything other than that's not being promoted on the tour, so anything that's used for merchandise or anything that's going to be used in a documentary, blah blah blah, it's going to have to go through a licensing fee through me. So they get to keep all the stuff for their archive, but if they ever want to use any of the footage for anything that could be made for money, it has to be discussed in a separate licensing deal, not included in the tour. Like what I get paid for a tour is my week rate, basically.
Okay, so that's awesome that you have like a licensing deal. How did you come up with that concept of having a licensing deal? Because some people don't even know that that's a thing. So how did you figure that out, and how did you start implementing that into your own work? How did you get bands to say okay to it? Is my question.
Right, it's actually pretty standard, to be honest. To like license. Like if you go on any stock website and you want to use their website, you license the photo or you license the video clip to use it, basically, right? So it's actually a pretty standard thing that just a lot of people like are either afraid to ask for or they just don't know to ask for. So yeah, basically how I like got into it is because the band I work for, Revolution, they use one of my t-shirts, or they use one of my photos and put it on a t-shirt. Like this was like this is the first tour that I did with them, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but shouldn't I get money for that? So I kind of like looked into it, and I was like, oh yeah, I should. Like this is like a separate thing. Like they're using the photo for merchandise, they're making more money off of it, so I should be getting paid more. And the easiest way to do it, because a lot of the artists that I've worked for, it's been impossible, like head, tail, and tooth, or I forget the phrases, but it's been like tooth and nail to like ply it out of them to do a licensing deal that's like royalties. So like some sort of deal where you'd be getting paid like every time they sell something. It's pretty impossible, unless if it's something like major, like an album cover or like a photo book or something. I don't know, something they would be selling for a long time. So what I just do is just like a one-time fee. Like this is what it costs to use the photo. This is how much it is, and then be done with it. That's it. That's been like the easiest way to handle that kind of situation, I feel like, and most effective, cost-wise.
For sure. Yeah, it makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about, I don't know if you've ever toured or if you've ever done much in like the rock or metal world, but the money looks different in these different genres. So, did you prefer rap and EDM and reggae because of that? Why did you prefer those genres?
I'm pretty like well versed in what I like as far as music goes. Like I like a little bit of everything. I think the two genres I probably don't listen to most is like country and like, I don't know, folk music, but I listen to everything for the most part. And I don't know, I don't like, if I got offered like a country gig or a metal gig, I guess those I wouldn't jump to at the beginning just because like those aren't things that I listen to often. But I don't think I wouldn't say no either if like, you know, if I thought it was a good idea or a good investment for me. So I guess It's weird because like all the artists other than NF, because I didn't know who he was, like the main artists that I've toured with in the past, I've heard of their music, so it was like a no-brainer for me. I was like, the money's good, I like the artist music, like yes, let's work together. And then NF, I was like, I went to the first show that I did with him. I was like, oh wow, this is actually really special. So I'm gonna keep working with him, and he's awesome. So I don't know. It's never been an issue for me where it's like I got offered a gig yet where I've been like, oh, I don't know about this because I'm not into the music or something, or I'm not. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah.
Yeah. You did partially. The other half of it was the money being different between the genres. So I don't know if you know much about it or if you can talk a little bit about that, but you know, a lot of photographers and videographers, we all say in this rock and metal scene, we all say like, oh, we should move to EDM because there's money in that. There's more money in rap, you know? Is that true? Like, do you think that that's actually the case?
I think yes and no. I think as a whole, the music industry is very cheap, is how they want to pay photographers and videographers. So I think yes and no. Like obviously, there's going to be a lot more money in the EDM industry right now because their DJs are just huge. You know, they're playing massive shows. They're getting paid a ridiculous amount of money, so they can afford to, you know, pay their crew more versus, you know, reggae or metal or whatever, you know. So yeah, I think in that way it's kind of no brainer that yeah, some of those photographers are going to be getting paid more. But I also think too, I think if you're getting your expenses paid, covered, and you enjoy what you're doing, then stick with what you're doing. There's no point, you know, in chasing more money. I mean, unless that's what you want to chase more money and, you know, do something that you're not going to like, that's up to you. But I think if you're happy what you're doing and you're getting paid fairly, then go for it.
Hell yeah. So what real jobs have you had to help supplement your income, if any?
So in high school, I was actually a DJ. I like DJ'd like bar mitzvahs and weddings and stuff like that. So I did that, and then I worked in college. I worked at a local PBS station, and I actually was like doing editing work. Like I was basically cutting, like commercials for their shows, like on the local station. And then what else did I do? I think that's pretty much it. And then other than that, I've been doing freelancing for the most part. Yeah.
So when you're off the road, what do you do? What do you work on?
Whatever I can get. Honestly, I probably take a little bit too much time off the road to kind of just relax, but I need it in my opinion because I tour a lot. Like I'll probably tour I've probably been touring, and last year I toured 8 or 9 months, and I'll probably have done the same this year by the end of the year. So it's just like a lot of moving back and forth and traveling. So I try to take time off, hang out with the girlfriend. I'll you know, look up YouTube videos, try to learn new stuff. I want to learn Cinema 4D, like I was telling you earlier. I have a gig. I'll try to look for other gigs too. Like I'm trying to do as much editing gigs as possible. So whatever it is, I'm trying to take those gigs because I love editing. That's pretty much it. I would say like 90% of my income and majority is coming from touring, so it's a lot. The rest is from editing jobs too, but a lot of it is from, I would put it under the touring category because it's editing tour promos for next year's tours, music videos, whatever it might be. You know, a lot of it's from this industry. So
you're mostly staying in the music world then.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Influences. Who are some of your favorite videographers and photographers out there?
A lot of people that I work with. Lane Kelly is a dude that I actually like. We both were kind of doing stuff. He was doing stuff with Grizz, who actually I've been working with too. I've been his number 2 guy now for the past few years. Lane Kelly, Mixed Media, he does amazing stuff. Rory Kramer was crazy. That dude, I met him in LA the day that he dropped that one video that blew him up, the Avicii video, and like he just like took off after that. He's done amazing work over the past few years. Jas Davis is another Jazz Davis is another dude that like kills it editing wise and videography wise. Did stuff for Skrillex and all those other people. Who else? That's probably about it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are killing it. Honestly, there's just it's crazy how many like videographers. Like I'll follow all these artists, and it's crazy to see how many different videographers are out there. So there's just a lot of people that are doing a great job. But yeah, those are just some of the few guys that I look up to and appreciate, and I think they do good work.
Sweet. And then what are some of your future goals? What are you looking forward to coming up? Do you have any personal projects going on, or are you just focused on touring?
I'm just focused on touring right now. I just moved from Arizona to Florida, so I'm just getting that all settled in. I'm just trying to, for my future stuff, I'm trying to just do a lot more editing gigs. I'd like to break into the music video industry, like work with a director full time ideally, and then just do music edit for him or her or whoever it is. That would be like my most ideal thing. But we'll see. I love just editing, so like I would love to just have a consistent freelance editing gig and just do that full time and not tour as much. Because as much as I do love touring, I think after a few years it's going to come to an end for me where I'm like, or not. I don't know. It's just something I think about. I just like definitely don't want to tour forever. Which you see people too. Like there's a guy that was Bob Marley's old sound engineer that toured with us in Revolution. He's like 70. Like the dude has been doing it forever. It's crazy. So I don't think I want to be doing it till I'm 70, but I think, I want to do it for a while, and then I want to move towards, either working for someone else maybe, or if I could do freelance forever, I would love to do that and just be editing all different kinds of projects. That would be great. So yeah, I'm just trying to, it's always a daily thing, just kind of networking with people and it's right time, right place too. That's kind of how I got this gig, and that's how I hear from other people too, as far as like getting future gigs too, is kind of just being there, showing up, and then the rest will come. So
yeah. So how did you meet NF?
So I got that gig through this band that I worked for called Mute Math. Their tour manager, which I got this gig, the Mute Math gig, through Revolution's manager. They work at this. They're at the management called C3 Management. At the time, Mute Math was at that management label, and so the managers there were just like, one of the managers was like, "Hey, I need this videographer, photographer for our band." And so I guess he referred me over. I toured with Mute Math for one tour, and their tour manager ended up touring with NF, and then he just referred me, and then that's how that all worked out.
Wow. So simple. So simple.
Literally it. Yeah, it's literally just, that's a lot of how I've got, like literally 100% of my gigs that I've gotten outside of Revolution have just been word of mouth, just through people that tour. So it's literally it. So that's the one thing. If my advice for people that go on tours, or if it's your first tour, my best advice would be to not, excuse my language, but don't fuck up. Just like take it very seriously, and don't just do your job, do it well, and you'll get invited back, and you'll probably get invited to a different tour or another artist or whatever, because that's literally it's very like cutthroat. Like if you mess up, like people like will hear about it, and like you'll probably not get invited back on that tour or any other tours. So it's like your reputation is very important. It's very detrimental to like you getting more gigs or you getting paid or whatever it is. So that's very important advice. Don't mess up, and take your job very seriously when you're out there. You're working for them. You're not out there to party or be in the band or whatever,
Yeah, and remember, you're out there for a job at the end of the day, and word travels extremely quickly on tour. Extremely quickly.
Absolutely correct. Yes.
So what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
I wish I knew how to basically like a lot of the like budget, like how much I should be charging people and stuff like that. I wish I knew more of that earlier, because what I'm realizing now is, as I'm talking to other videographers and stuff, is that the rates fluctuate pretty dramatically. Like some artists will pay like a ridiculous amount of money to have you out, And some artists will pay about the median of what normally people are paying, and some people will pay you absolutely nothing. So it varies. I wish I had told myself to basically value my time and my worth more, because I think when I started out, I kind of valued it lower, so I kind of started my base price lower, which has been something I've been able to negotiate up, obviously, working with some people for 6 years. But I think one thing that wish I could tell myself, and I want to tell other people, is you need to value your time, and you need to value what you're offering, because you're offering a lot. You're basically giving them content that they're sending out to their thousands and thousands and thousands of fans. So you're doing a big job, and you're doing a good job too. So you need to put a lot of time and effort into what you're doing, and for that you should be compensated for it well. So that's what I would have taught myself when I was first negotiating my rates with artists.
Amen to that, man. All right. Where can people find you on social media, or if they potentially want to hire you for a tour or to edit a thing or to film a thing, where can they find you?
Yes, they can find me. Instagram is at Sam Dean Medina with 2 E's. You can find me on my website, samdeanproductions.com. And yeah, you can DM me or shoot me an email, and hopefully I can help you out or reach out to you or whatever it is. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm glad we could do this so quickly too.
Yeah, I'm glad we could literally make it happen the day after I hit you up.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I wish you the best of luck on your upcoming tours, and I will talk to you soon. All right, that was Sam Medina. I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast. I had a blast chatting with him about tour life, about what he does on the road, about how he captures his content, and what he wants to do in the future. Super cool to hear from him. And Sam, thank you for taking the time out of your day to jump on this podcast with me. I know that people are going to get a ton of value out of it. And if you got some value out of this, please do me a favor, leave it a rating. Give us 5 stars on whatever app you're listening to this on. Leave us some feedback, and if you leave feedback and you leave a rating, I will send you a signed photo print of mine. I might send you a photo from NASA. I might send you a photo from an abandoned place. I might send you a photo from Alaska. I don't know, but I'm going to pick something cool, and I'll sign it, and I will send it to you. All you got to do is leave feedback, leave a rating, and send me a DM on Instagram at Project Freelance, and I will send you a signed photo print to your address. Thank you guys. Please be sure to follow us on social media. Project Freelance on Instagram, Project Freelance with no A on Twitter because of character limits. Yeah, it's really frustrating. But yeah, please come back next week for another episode of Project Freelance. And if you would like to come on the podcast, if you make $1,000 or more a month on freelancing, I want to hear from you. Hit me up at contact@justtheletterk.com. Let's get you on an episode of this podcast. Let's educate some people together. And as always, I'll talk to you guys next week. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out and go create something.